this. For my intellectuals, for my people who are not yet sold, why shout? Pastor Ron, why is a shout important? Why is a shout even necessary? What in the world do you need me to shout for? Because in essence, the word shout really just means increase your volume. It means you're not loud enough. Hold on, let me do this real quick. I'm about to give y'all something I ain't getting 9:30. Oftentimes when I'm walking in the grocery store, I always notice that there's one particularly unruly child. And and the child will ask his mama for something, and he'll be like, Mama, let me get them Snickers. And mama be like, no, baby, we ain't got no Snickers money. And he'll be like, okay. Mama, let me get them Snickers. And mama be like, no, baby, we ain't got no Snickers money. Now, y'all got different mamas, so this next part ain't gonna relate to y'all, but you gonna feel me because you done seen it. The next thing the little boy proceeds to do is fall out on the floor. And he opens his mouth as loud as he can. And he's like, Mama! I want a Snickers! Now everybody else looking at the little boy like he need his behind beat. But if he didn't do nothing else, right or wrong, he got his mama's attention. Because now she don't want the whole store looking at her like she ain't taking care of her kids. So that she started reaching in her purse. I'ma find you some Snicker money today. I may beat you when you get home, but I'ma find that money right now because you shouted to me. Somebody open your mouth right there.
Welcome back in, family, community, and friends. So glad to have y'all here. I have not done a midweek, midday live in so long, man, but I thought today would be a good idea to do one. So we're going to have an impromptu conversation. For many of you know, we have Bridge City Liftoff Weekend coming up, being hosted by Bridge City SoCal, and I am absolutely excited about everything that's coming out of that. And I've been so wrapped up in planning that along with some other things and, of course, ramping up my content on this channel that I haven't had a good chance to just kind of interact with y'all on Sundays. I'm just kind of flowing. So today, because I've been getting so many questions, I mean, like literally over the past 2 months, I probably have over 30 unanswered messages, which are really just simple questions I just haven't had the bandwidth to get to. So I thought today would be a great opportunity to answer some of those questions. And if you have some questions of your own, I'm actually going to try to stay paying attention to the chat today. Now, I will remind you as you're coming in, by the way, make sure to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I will remind you, because this is live, your boy might cuss. So if that's a little sensitive to you, I don't know how to bleep it out in advance. So you pray about that, I guess. I don't know. But I am going to be doing my best today to actually kind of pay attention to the chat as we get into it. So that way, if you have any corporate punishment, trauma's real, that is hilarious. So that way, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to kind of catch those as we're going along. If you know anyone who has been interested in what we're doing with Bridge City Global and how we're coming along, and who may have some questions themselves about Liftoff Weekend and what our plans are for there and how that has even come together. Maybe you're one of those people who've tapped in through the forum and said, I want to be a host and I want to be a lead. And now you see somewhere those things are already kind of coming together. And so we can talk about that. And so are y'all ready to get in this conversation? And again, if you know anybody who you think has any questions about it, make sure to share this stream with them. I'm going to try to be on for about an hour and 15 minutes. Very specific, because I typically leave my office at 3:14 every day to pick up my youngest son from school. My oldest son would normally be handling that, but he has track and he's over. He's the band captain, and he does something else. And he's preparing for soccer, and this is his senior year as well. So I kind of pick up that slack and pick up the youngest. All right. So Bridge City Global. I got people have had questions, and so I think I kind of have these in order. And so if you have any questions, you let me know, pop them in the chat. I'll be trying to look for them. But I kind of have these in order. So I'm going to start with the most recent one that I get. And that's basically, is, like, how does Liftoff Weekend connect to the bigger vision of Bridge City Global? Like, what is this? What is Liftoff Weekend? I've been hearing of Bridge City Global. I've been hearing of these Sunday sessions. Now, what is this Liftoff Weekend? What is it? And how does it connect to the bigger vision of Bridge City Global? Well, Liftoff Weekends is a lot of things. So let's talk through. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So Liftoff Weekend is our opportunity to see if we have enough support and collaboration in that area to actually lift or sustain a possible campus in that area. And so you get to a Liftoff Weekend when you've already gotten to the place where you have 2 or 3 people on the team who are gung-ho and are willing to kind of carry the burden of making something happen, and carrying the burden of making something happen in the community context. When you're building with strangers, that literally means working with the people within your group, seeing what strengths people have, what weaknesses people have, and the different ways that people are able to work together, and the ways that they're able to contribute to the phase of the mission or the phase of the vision. So Liftoff Weekend, how it connects to the bigger vision, ultimately, this is pretty much something that every potential campus will likely be doing at some point, because this is how you introduce the idea of your community, of your local community, to your larger community. This is how you let people know in the area that, hey, something is going on. Now, the main thing, though, is that while this Liftoff is featuring an event, and that event is Rise, which I can't wait to talk about, that does not necessarily have to be a staple. You do what's available within your team. But ultimately, the primary focus of the Liftoff Weekends is to bring that first team together. That by the time you get to a Liftoff Weekend, you've already got a group that's been interacting with each other for a while. Liftoff Weekend basically says, ooh, we finally have a team. And the proof that we have a team is that we've worked on this mission together of hosting our first type of weekend event that includes a Sunday session. So our weekend for Liftoff Weekend and for Bridge City SoCal will look like this. Friday, we're going to spend, I think, about 5 to 8 hours together in training and leadership development and team building, getting to know each other, vision casting. And then we're also going to have a community mixer after that, where we're going to eat together, and they're cooperating together to make all of that happen. That's a community mission at that moment, or that's a team mission. They're working together. This is how you demonstrate that, okay, we either have the right moving pieces, or we still have to go get some more pieces. We still have to maneuver some more. So how does it connect to the larger, to the bigger vision of Bridge City Global? It's the beginning. It's the doorway. It's how we actually get it's how your campus goes from an idea to a possibility. And typically, like for us, I'll kind of go ahead and give you a little insight of what I'm looking at for Bridge City SoCal. If Liftoff Weekend for Bridge City SoCal goes well, which basically means at the end of that event, we feel like we have a solid team who can handle the community dynamic, who can handle the complexity of community dynamics and managing a community. They can either skill up or scale up to grow with the role, because listen, it's a lot of work. And I think our SoCal team is kind of seeing that it's a lot of work. But if we come out of Liftoff Weekend and we know, like, we have some solid people here who are willing to at least commit 12 months of their time to this project, making sure that we're moving ahead, then bam, we know that we can actually start physically building a campus there. And so our next move would be planning another event in April. So if this is the Liftoff event, then in April, we'd be aiming at possibly doing a launch event where SoCal, Bridge City SoCal, whether it's San Diego or LA or somewhere in that vicinity, may actually be our first official Bridge City campus. Now, if that happens, that is absolutely major. If we come out of October feeling like, oh, snap, this team is solid, there's a good hunger for what we're doing in this area, there's good receptivity, we got a good support system, then we know, yes, let's aim for April, launching officially, introducing ourselves, to the local area and the larger world, to the world at large, I think what that does is like this moment. I think the momentum we've had so far will look like nothing in comparison to what comes after that, because then it gives those other people who've tapped in to be hosts and to be leads and to attend something. It gives them somewhat of a model to actually look at. It gives them a prototype. It gives them an opportunity to see community in action. It gives them something to travel and visit. It gives them other people who've actually done it to actually have conversation with them and say, hey, what did you have to do? What did it feel like? What are some things y'all tried? You know, I know it is easy to get ahead of yourself when you're excited, right? Like, oh my goodness. All right. So what role can I play if I'm not in SoCal but want to be more involved? What role can I play? Okay, you say, listen, I'm not in Southern California, but I'm excited about what you all are doing there or what's being done there, because listen, I'm not in Southern California either. I'm in Southern Alabama. The two couldn't be further away. You know what I'm saying? But number one, the way that I'm helping, and I guess you didn't ask that, but I'll answer that anyway. The way that I'm helping, and listen, I'm not in SoCal, but I am meeting with the local SoCal team, weekly now, as far as the core team, and they're meeting together. So, and this is actually something that we've been thinking about as a team. Now, here's the funny thing. The SoCal team slips up and ends up, because they're the first who've actually made that step of organizing each other. You know what I'm saying? Because they've actually taken that step, they've actually slipped over and kind of become the interim global team. So with that being said, when we're thinking about SoCal, we're not just thinking about SoCal. We're also thinking about the people in Charlotte and Raleigh, South Carolina. We're also thinking about the people in the Atlanta area. We have people in Dallas, Austin, and Houston. Like, they all over the place in Texas. We have a few growing hubs in Florida. And so as we're working to build and to conceptualize what we can do in SoCal, we're also thinking through, like, okay, we get to feel the energy of meeting together every week and talking about these things, while also seeing our community members meeting weekly, because the SoCal team, as far as the members of the interest group, those people who've tapped in that area, they meet weekly in WhatsApp, and they just have a virtual meeting where they do a roundtable discussion. That wasn't my idea, and that's what I mean about bringing yourselves to the table. That was the person who signed up to be our host for the San Diego area, who said, yeah, no, I'll take that. I'll reach out to the people. Because I mean, really, that's the first thing you have to be willing to do, especially if there's people who've tapped into your area. If there are people who have tapped into your area, whether you've tapped into attend, lead, or host, if you're wanting it to move forward, the first thing that you're going to have to be willing to do is actually to be I'll be the call person. I'll be the person who calls the other people in the area and say, hey, what y'all want to do? And say, hey, are y'all willing? Can I put y'all in an app space? Now, right now, we're using WhatsApp, but we know WhatsApp is not going to be sustainable for what we want to do next, because what we want to do next, and again, this is what happens when you start getting people together. I don't think this group is so special. I mean, there are some special things about this group, but I think this is what happens when humans start interacting. Because the team in SoCal actually cares about what we're doing, we're thinking about through the sustainability of things, and that's helping us kind of and update our realism in real time to find different options and different avenues that'll work best for people. And so we're like, WhatsApp, I think there's like 16 of them in the WhatsApp group, 16, 17 of them in the WhatsApp group. And they're already thinking like, oh man, this is too small, and it doesn't really let you do too much. And so now we're looking at another platform that will allow us to bring together everybody that's tapped in for Bridge City Global. So that way, even if you're tapped in an area that does not have enough people to do anything yet. Maybe it's just you, or maybe it's just 3 people and all of y'all tapped in to attend. Nobody tapped in to lead or host. By doing this, we create an opportunity where all of our members get to interact with each other, and they'll be able to interact with each other. And as SoCal is growing, a lot of their events will be hosted through there. You'll be able to see them. interact with those events. We'll start hosting global events where everybody who's tapped in can interact with me and the leadership team from SoCal. And then what I'm really excited about, and I did see your question, I'm gonna come back to it. Is that Katara? My eyes bad. These glasses are not big for show. My eyes bad, so I had to lean down. But what really makes me excited about this is for those people who have tapped in to be hosts and to be leads, and they got 99. Their only problem is, oh, I've never done anything like this before. For me, this makes me excited for them, because for them, then number one, and I've already I think I've sent an email, or that email is going out today to everybody who's tapped in as lead or host, is like, no, I'm challenging you to get here. Get to Southern California in October and spend some time with our leadership team, because what you're going to find out about them is that they've not done this before either. You know what I'm saying? But so that I think that's going to energize some of them, and it's going to oh, damn it, don't get me excited. It's the power of knowing that, no, there's already other people doing this. My next video that's coming out is going to be about the sociological effect. And I'm telling you, I'm that might be why I'm hyped, because I just finished producing it today. But no, I'm excited, because then those people who really want to step up are they're going to have arms to help pull them up. They're going to have resources. SoCal is having to create all this stuff in real time. That makes it easier to pass off blueprints. And y'all know how I am. If we give you something, it's not like, hey, do it exactly this way. This is something for you to kind of think about how you want to operate and how you want to move. All right. So how do we join the WhatsApp? All right, Qatar, first thing, tap in, and that link should be in my description. If it's not, I'll get it in there, but the link should be in the description. You want to where it says tap in, you tap in there. If you're in California, you'll get a contact from somebody on the team this week, and then they'll get you into the WhatsApp. If you're not in California, we haven't started adding people not in California in WhatsApp yet, because we want to move to this other platform that's going to be bigger for everybody else. But I will tell everybody this. If you're tapped in and you're serious, and if you're tapped in and you're serious, then you already know my email address, right? If you're tapped in and you're serious, then you already know my email address. If you don't know my email address, then just go tap in again. It won't add you to the system twice. It will just update your information. But once you tap in again, you're going to get an email from me. Reply to that email. And if you do that, then I'll create a separate WhatsApp for Bridge City Global until we transition to the other platform. Now, the only thing about that is, y'all know I ain't got time to do anything else other than what I'm already doing. And what I'm already doing is way too much. And I'm waiting for people to come around me and say, bro, you just doing a way. Let me take that off your plate. I'm gonna take that, So y'all gonna have to talk to each other now. But no, other than that, I could do that. But that's gonna be response dependent. I can't get my words out today. Okay, and so let me go back up. Oh no, so that was the answer to that question. Let's see here. Stuff like that, and how does this affect your everyday life of today? Nope, I was nothing like that. But just in case you didn't know, Double Rainbow Salad, this conversation is specifically about what's in the title. This is about our liftoff weekend. Whoop, whoop, Darante is live. I am live and alive. All right, so I've answered 3 questions, 2 that were here and 1 from the chat. And again, for those of you who have questions about Liftoff Weekend or Bridge City Global, this is the time. I'm answering these live. I'm actually paying attention to the chat today. I'm being more interactive. This is why you're going to see my eyes down here more than you see my eyes up here, because I'm actually looking down here to see what y'all saying. All right, so next questions. Will there be live streams or recordings of the weekend session? I don't know. I don't know. That's my best answer. And I think our SoCal team is learning this about me. But, and this is, I don't even want to make this sound like I'm so unique or that I'm some type of savant. No, this is just from 2 decades of pastoral experience. And I wasn't the type of pastor, not until I became an atheist and decided to take a historic role for a while. But I wasn't the type of pastor that got voted in. So I was not a pastor who was brought into an established context. I come from a breed called church planters, right? So that means we always went into cities, many times cities that we did not come from and built up a team from scratch. So there's a lot of things that I'm accustomed to in this process that other people are not. And again, that's because building a community is very different than building a business. They have a lot of similarities, but man, you're literally starting with nothing, and in your very beginning, it's a cattle call. Whoever will come, whoever can come, let them come. And you have to figure out who people are in real time. There aren't these real resume type of exchanges where everybody who shows up, where you can like do background checks on everybody who shows up and ask for their resume and their references and all of these types of things. And you know, so you're dealing with an environment that when you're assuming the best of everybody, sometimes your assumptions of privilege, like you never know what that is, or your assumptions of poverty. Like that's something I've wrestled with in my whole life. I've always been the poor person in the room. And it was always very difficult for me to react. So what I've learned from those years of pastoring, having to kind of pull something together where nothing exists, is that it takes a lot of patience and flexibility. And so, dang, there was a phrase we used to have, is that, oh shit, basically it was something that ministry should be flexible, right? And so that's the same thing with community planning. It should be flexible. You can come up with a lot of plans in the beginning, but in those early years, you don't really have commitment. You're not going to have that immediately because everybody's strangers, even in the context of where it's a city that people are in, those people are still strangers. And so then you take a context that like ours, where everybody is global. You know, this is a different type of situation. And let me just give some visuals so you know what I'm saying. So you know your boy's not just saying that to make it seem bigger than what it is. But no, this is our footprint right now as far as DLDD World Group, and Bridge City represents a good bit of this footprint as well. And so this is large. These dots are very encouraging. However, they don't know each other, right? And so as we're pulling people together and creating community, we have to go through those real processes of building relationships with people. And you don't know what's going to be in the room until it shows up in the room. But community creates a pipeline where the room is enlarging itself, you know, weekly. Dang, this is good. Like, damn it. If there are some of y'all out there who are literally thinking about building community, whether it's with Bridge City, DLDD World Group, or some other thing, this is good stuff. You know, the community, like its possibilities, its capacities are changing every week, you know, and so that's why smart communities are often trying to increase those doors, you know, where you're not just getting people in the front door, man. How can we get people through the side door? How can we get people through the windows? Because every time someone joins, so as of now, there's no plans to live stream or record. Well, actually, let me take that back. I said all of that. And we are live streaming at least one session. We will be live streaming Sunday sessions. So the Sunday session that we'll be doing in San Diego, that will likely be at our host house, that will be streamed. But for the rest of the events, we're not planning on streaming or recording those as of now. However, if we do, you'll be the first to know. And how do you think that'll happen? How do you think it'll happen where we make the decision that, you know what, hey, we're going to live stream this or record this? The way that will happen will be one or two ways. Number one, we surprisingly get it in the budget, because that stuff ain't, oh my goodness, it's not cheap. And when I say it's not cheap, it's not just the equipment itself. It's also having someone with the know-how to do it without, you know, fucking it up. That's the best way I can say it, you know. Hopefully, you know, you get it. So that's one way. If it shows up in the budget, yeah. Which shows up in the budget. I mean, it could be the week before. And if it shows up in the budget, then I'm definitely getting on an emergency call with the SoCal team and saying, hey, y'all, it showed up in the budget. Can we get a media team there by, you know, to make sure we got coverage for the whole weekend? Because then that allows us to include people who cannot afford to travel. And that would mean the world to me. So that's the one way. The second way that may happen is someone may join the team where that's just kind of their thing. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's just, oh, by the way, I DJ on the weekends. And so I kind of have all the equipment, you know, and this is something I wouldn't mind doing. You know, it might be there. And then, you know, say, sometimes you need 2 or 3 people, but as long as you got one person and you have the equipment and the one person knows how to do it, then that also creates opportunity for somebody else who's a part of that team that says, I don't know how to do anything like this, but I'd love to learn a new skill. And now you've not just given someone an opportunity, you've also created a point of connection for new relationships to form, because you're giving both of these people something that they may or may not get outside of the context of community. One of those people is getting an opportunity to be mentored in something that may be important to them, and the other person is getting the opportunity to mentor somebody in something that may be important to them. And these are sincerely rewarding moments for human beings. Man. Then after you've done it, will it then again be the work of a pastor? I don't know. I would say so. I'd definitely say the work that I do is still, I'd say, I don't like the word pastor, right? It's so much so, like, and I wrestled with this. I really wrestled with this. So like in the Bridge City context, the word pastor doesn't exist. Bridge City Global, which Bridge City operates much like what some people would say is a church. But I don't like the word pastor, so we just use a very boring word like executive. There's a campus executive, there's a community developer. All of our words are actually more descriptive and functional. But in the contemporary context, I would not say necessarily the early church context or even the ancient biblical context. I very much am a pastor in the sense that one of the things that I light up about is helping people find ways to connect to the things that mean the most to them, and watching that help them become the best versions of themselves as they define. To me, I am probably, if I were to use the term pastor, I'm the most liberated type of pastor that this is the most liberated version of pastoring that could have ever existed for me. And that is not having to tie people into doctrine, dogma, or belief in a deity, but instead actually uplifting the values of human capacity and human cooperation. And that, to me, like, oh man, it's like it's pastoring without a savior. God damn, that's good. I love that. Working towards a better future. Oh no, I like that. Futurer. Okay, futurer, because you're working. Yeah, I can go for that. I can definitely go for that. Futurer. That's a futurer. Futurer. I don't know why that reminds me of the Sandlot. Oh, the scene with forever. That's what that future were. I don't know why. I don't know. Found that connection. All right. Did I miss any questions? Just need bass and drums. Man, I love it. I love it. Oh, snap. Yeah. And so yeah, that and that's kind of how decisions are made. And for those of you who are going to take that step of actually building communities, that's how it'll be for you. You'll be doing things and you'll be like, nah, we're not going to have this, anytime soon. And then one person decides to be a part of your community. And because they have access to the resources and the skill, you can now take that one person and empower a whole team of volunteers, which again, that gives people more points of connection with the community that you're building. That's stuff that, and these are things that I've highlighted about the church structure that most people from the outside in overlook, is that, most people are not going to church to hear about hell. They ain't there Monday through Friday for that. Most of them are going there just because it gives them a place to go and something to do that has some connection with their idea of being a better person, and I'm like, that's something we can do. And there's no reason like we shouldn't. See, we got the drums. You see how, and I mean, that shows up. That shows up. Stuff like that shows up in the room, And you'd be surprised how attracting one musician to your community will create floodgates, especially if they're a good musician and they play, and they shed and then they know other musicians. All right. So let me make sure I ain't missing nothing. Oh man, that is awesome. I love that. I love that. And I do want to make that clear. Like I share faith. I share information about where I am. I have no expectation of other people to deconvert because of me. I actually discourage many times, as some of y'all have seen it. I've discouraged people in engaging Christians who are not trying to engage them. I discourage people from trying to convert Christians or deconvert Christians. That's not what I represent. I am an atheist, and that is for me, you know. And honestly, I kind of think that's a part of my personality, because I didn't like the idea of trying to convert people to Christianity. That was so weird to me. And thankfully, I never really had to do that, because all of the people that I led to Jesus were already Christians. They were just sinners. But you know how that works. Okay, so, but no, thank you so much. I do want to make that clear. That's one thing about, especially all the events we do. By far and large, if it's a public event, especially if it's Bridge City Global, we don't say no Christians allowed. You know, our mentality and ideology is more so no superstition promoted. You know, and so we have values that we uphold, like safe, soft, sound, and secure. And it's just making sure that our community, as we build it, is a safe place for people to land. Now, please don't always expect me to be safe for you. All right. I am not the community. I'm me. But to make sure that our community is a safe place to land and a soft place to land. So for people, because there are some people who are going to be deconstructing who are not anywhere thinking about leaving their faith, and they still need safe places just to be human. They still need safe places to talk about the things that are important to them, to grow in ways that are important to them, that are beyond the ideals of superstition. They still need places for their children to engage with others during the week. They still need places of freedom where, even if no one else is going to believe what they think, they can just share it with somebody without somebody saying, "Oh, that's stupid. You need to get out." You know, like that's a leap. And so I do want the community that we build to be a place that really is for everybody. You know, I don't care what your religious system is. If you're coming here because you believe that we should be working on better ways to connect as humanity, and that you agree that building communities beyond superstition is worthwhile doing, and that you want to be a part of a community that is people-centric, life-affirming, and progressive thinking, then I don't care what label you have: political, religious, agnostic, atheist. None of that means anything to me. To me, those conversations are best had by people who already have a relationship with each other. As we're just getting to know each other, I think we should start with our humanity and then our values. We can get to the labels later. But for Bridge City Global, it exists for humanity. And as long as we can all come in with that, I think it's going to be a beautiful place. I think, and see, because here's, mind you, the name of what we're doing here is Bridge City. And so this isn't a thought. Like, this isn't me revealing my mastermind genius plan or anything like this. This is a thought that I just had. For all we know, right? Our Bridge City local campuses may become safe places for people who are currently Muslim, are currently Christian, or what may have you. And I name those because they're the big hubs over here in the West, you know, with all of their little, you know, branches and runoffs and stuff. I started to call them fuck offs just because that was going to be funny, but I didn't, and then I did. So you got both versions. But you get all those people coming who are just coming for a safe place and are coming for a place to just be human. And they may not ever actually deconvert their religion, but their experiences with Bridge City campuses may allow them to go back and humanize their religions. It may allow them to go back as supported groups, as supported networks that allow them to go ahead and bring their religions finally into the 21st century. It has been done before. And so Bridge City campuses could very well become a catalyst for that type of growth. Yes, humanity is the key. That's right. It's that, like honestly, I'm not being gimmicky. Like, that shit tears me up, because that's the point. All right, so let me move to the next question. What is the Okay, so I'm gonna do this because I want to take the map off the screen in a few. So while I got the map up, before I go to the next question, this is what our footprint looks like, and this is what I was kind of telling y'all later. But what I want to show you is just some of these hubs, and the way we were originally going to do this when I was working full time and doing this full time. The way we were originally going to do this is I was just going to use these maps to find the hubs. And then if I could find the hubs, then I would verify that we had people there, and then I just plan an event and come. Obviously, well, not obviously, some of y'all don't know, I stopped working back in February. I do this now. And instead of doing the other job for 60 hours a week and this for 30 to 40 hours a week, I now just do this for 80 hours a week. Yay, me. But so now the mode is, which I started announcing in February, like, nah, it's really, that was because my goal was going to be top down. But now, because of my bandwidth issue, and it's just like, ain't nothing you can do to fix my bandwidth issue other than pay me $60,000 a year. Actually, damn, that's nowhere near enough. Like $150,000 a year. That's how you fix my bandwidth issue. Father of four, two who are going to college. Now, the good news is they both might get full rides, but I can't depend on that. Okay. All right. So what I was doing is just looking at this. Now it's bottom up. And that's when I started releasing the tap in forms. Let us know what role you want to play. Let me know where you are and whether you're tapping in because you just want to attend, which means, you know what, you may have high commitment. It's just going to be low responsibility, which we're going to love to see you there when we get there. But what we need to prioritize first is we got to have people who are actually tapping in to lead and to host. Now, and I'll get to that. There's a question in that I'll get to later as well. So, but if you can see here, this is how I recognize where we have hubs at. And honestly, I thought our first campus was going to be, I've been saying South Carolina. I thought our first campus was going to be North Carolina because there's a nice little hub right here, right? This is nice. And actually, it may end up being our second campus because I am getting word that we might have somebody there who's ready to take that next step, which makes it very exciting. Because for the South, this is actually an increasingly progressive area. And so having 2 or 3 strong Bridge City campuses in here could only help to support that and help to accelerate that. We also have a little hub over here in Virginia. Like, I don't know how this happened. Like, this is, but the thing is, we have these, out of these, we don't have very many who have tapped in to actually lead and host, which that's actually, as a former church planner, that's something I'm very familiar with. So wondering why Southern California is first? Well, look at that. That's just Southern California. These are all people that we've had to tap in, and we've had more than 2 or 3 to tap in for leadership and hosting, which means we had a better chance of at least getting one person who followed through on starting to communicate with other people. And then we also have that growing hub in North Carolina, Northern California as well. And so that's that. So I'll get to the next question now. Let me see how much time I have. Make sure I'm not missing any questions in the chat. Let's keep rolling. How will this weekend set the tone for future Bridge City global campuses? I won't say that it will set the tone. It'll set the record and set the possibility, right? Every campus launch after that, or every campus liftoff after that, has the opportunity, number one, to use this first one as a muse, as a learning lesson, as a learning curve, and then also to use it as, okay, yeah, I know what I want to aim for, and I know how I want to do it. I don't necessarily want it to set the tone because, I know that's going to be a little difficult, because honestly, your community is going to set the tone. It's set, every liftoff adds a new possibility, right? So like right now, when SoCal came together, when they first started coming together and said, what does it look like? They could only rely on what I've already shared. They could only rely on what I've put in BC 101, what's on the websites, and what I share in Sunday sessions. That's all they got. But the second campus that goes this route will now be able to look at SoCal. And then after that second campus goes through it, then the third campus will be able to look at SoCal, and they'll be able to look at the second campus. And so every time a campus does launch off, especially when they're not trying to necessarily duplicate or mimic what was done before, but actually trying to use what was done before to understand what the possibilities are. And then as your community members are joining, and it's not just the members, it's the people who sign up to lead, right? It's the people, and there are going to be some people who don't sign up to lead, but they show up, and then you start realizing, damn, you are really responsive. You're good on follow through. Am I hearing myself? You're good on follow through, and you're actually communicating with other people. You can handle conflict well. Hey, can I ask you to step up to maybe be a part of some more directive stuff? And that goes. But so as people are joining, it's those people that you see who are going to help you carry the burden that are going to be defining the tone of what that community kind of looks like. And then you all together looking at what SoCal did. And if there's more than just SoCal by that time, you're now looking at what all of those other communities have done and saying, ooh, I like this. It becomes a beautiful buffet. You know what I'm saying? That you can kind of pick from, choose from, and then say, now this is what I'm going to add to the menu, Oh, that's good. Okay. All right. So next question. What are the next steps after Rise for those of us who want to grow deeper in the community? I think this one is very easy. Next steps, tap in. Everybody needs to do that tap in form. We're going to do our best to have the QR codes all over that event for tapping in. Tap in. Number 2, join BC 101. And yes, we're going to upgrade the course in the time beings, but right now it's the best way for you to actually know what this community is. What I want people to be very careful about is don't fall in love with the hype without exploring the depth. Dang, that's good. Don't fall in love with the hype without exploring the depth, because you may be so hyped up and then you never go through BC 101, and then you go through BC 101 like 2 years later and you be like, what? That's what all this was about? Don't do that to yourself. So make sure, that's how people get scammed and stuff. And that's why we do kind of organize things in this way where you can go through a process where you can make a responsible decision. Do I want to be a part of this community? Now, I'm not saying there's anything weird in there, but you won't know if you don't go through the courses, So please go through the courses. They're free, they're short. And if you can't go through the courses, or if you can't make it through without interaction and stuff, then just watch this current Sunday session series that I'm in, because I'm literally just teaching the stuff from that. And I'm just trying to do it in a creative way. It's like BC 101 with fire. Again, hats off. Ashley gave me that one, so I'm going to give her credit for it. But you go through that and then just watch the Sunday session, then go to that module and then just put your answer in the form and see if there's somebody else's answer that you want to respond to. And that's it. So tap in, go through BC 101. And then after Rise event, what I'm hoping is that we'll have this other platform that you'll immediately be able to join. If not, we will have something for y'all to get in contact, to get connected. The biggest thing is follow through. You got to follow through on these emails. Have y'all ever seen Mighty Morphin Power Rangers back in the day? Go Power Rangers. Ba-na-na-na-na. Go Power Rangers. You body boy fit Power Rangers. Y'all remember them? I used to love them. I was in love with the Pink Ranger for a while, the yellow, maybe just all the female Rangers. Maybe that was a thing. Obviously, Tommy was my favorite Ranger because I like Rangers that go to the dark side. Not Rangers, but I like complex characters. That's what made me like Lex Luthor in Smallville. Best Lex in my opinion. But Power Rangers did a really good job of giving me this metaphor that I can use. And there are other, you can do Power Rangers, Voltron. There were some other folks like this. But ultimately, you got all of these pieces that come together, right? And they make this Megazord. I think that's what he's called. Megazord, not to be confused with Megatron, not to be confused with Metatron, all right? But Megazord, when our powers combine type of thing. They not Captain Planet, but all of they little mini dinosaurs, they run up together, mini dinosaur mechanics, they run up together, they fuse, and then when they powers combine, they become like this large, like, dang, what's the word that I want to use? There's a word for it, what Godzilla name is, because he's like Godzilla-sized Megazord. Now, I love this as a metaphor, because when you think about Bridge City Global, I want you to think of that Megazord, where all of where this big ass mechanic, whatever they call Godzilla them, Smallville Lex best. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Kaiju. See, that got my creative juices back. you know, you got this big, imagine Bridge City Global as this big robotic kaiju that requires like 15 Power Rangers, right? It requires 15 Power Rangers to power this big old, you know, mechanical kaiju, and there's only one person in there. That's Bridge City Global, right? I don't know why I went there. Oh yeah. I just went there to say, expect that motherfucker to be awkward, because there's not enough Power Rangers in there. There's not enough Power Rangers, and because we're a global movement, it's not just 15 Power Rangers we need. We're probably because our reach has outpaced our infrastructure. We are likely going to need about 3,500 solid Power Rangers to power this team globally. We have people in the UK who don't want to wait for us to get it together over here. They don't want to wait for 2 years before they get to start launching communities over there. Man, I got Wilson in Kenya who's ready right now. He's like, hey, where do people at here? So like, to power this Zord that everybody can see, oh my goodness. We're going to need like 3,500 Power Rangers. Okay. So, all right, next question. And do I got time? I do. And again, if y'all have any questions about Bridge City Global, the liftoff weekends, that's what I'm answering. All right. So next question that I have on my list: what does it take to start something like what SoCal has built? All right. Now, and this is the thing that I've really been hyping up. This is what makes me excited about it. Is that anybody asking this question prior to SoCal, you know, just what does it start to something? Oh, yes, that's what the question was before this. The question was, what does it take to start something like this, right? And my answer has always been, well, first you're going to have to start telling people about it. You're going to have to find people who are interested in it, right? And then from those people who are interested, you're going to have to find a team, you know, from that interested group. You got to find a team. And then once you can find a team that can be responsible for keeping the group engaged, learning about the group, helping the people in the group grow, then you know you have some people who can help you do your first project. And ultimately, your first project as a Bridge City local campus should be a Sunday session. Now, you have two ways to do that. You could do just regular Sunday sessions with you and your group. So that means your group get together wherever your host is hosting at, and they can host at their home or they can host at a specific location. There are free locations you can consider. As you grow, there are inexpensive locations you consider, such as schools and libraries. But you could just host it and just have me on the screen from Sunday sessions, unless there's a time zone conflict, which we can work around. If you want to do it that way until you have some strong teams. Or you can do the way SoCal is doing. Their first Sunday session is literally going to be with me. Now, if your first Sunday session is with me, then you're going to have to organize your team to get me there. And your team is going to have to organize it and make it happen. So using SoCal to get a better understanding, we had several people tap in to attend, host, and lead. When I get people who tap in to host and lead, and again, I'm operating a Megazord and I'm missing like 3,499 Power Rangers. So on top of me, you know, producing the content, writing the content, editing the content, uploading the content, putting together the content, SEO packages, I'm also running Windows Shop. I'm also running the websites, and I'm also making sure that I'm kind of managing the emails for right now. So that's why stuff gets lost through the cracks. Again, it's awkward as fuck because it's a Megazord without all of the Power Rangers, you know. But dang it, now I forgot what I said. Let me see. Oh yeah, so I send out everybody who taps in for host or lead. I actually send out an email to them asking them why. Why did you tap out? Why did you tap in? And out of everybody who tapped in to host and lead for Southern California, there was only one person, and literally that's all it takes. And that's why I created that filtration system. I created this filtration system. So just let me get to the person who's actually going to do something. And then if you get that one person to do something, they're going to help find the second person to do something. And then when you got two people doing something, it's more attractive for three people to do something. there's something about being a sociologist that allows me to look at life in a way that's mathematical, that makes it seem cold to other people, but it's not cold to me. It's very like warm. It's like, oh, I get it. I've kind of cracked the code. And then actually I'm going to be doing a training with our team in Southern California to demonstrate this. So, but that one person responded, and then I reached out to them after they responded, and I said, great. Can I now hold you responsible to reach out to everybody in the Southern California area? Because I knew that's how big that was. And you do kind of want to cast that wide net. You don't know where the focus is going to be. So we just looked at where all the hubs were and said, well, let's just cover Southern California altogether. Now that host who did tap in does have the means and availability to do so. So, which that just ended up being exciting for a lot of other reasons, which I think are just going to benefit that SoCal team in such a great way. But so he started doing that. He said, yes, I'll reach out to everybody's on the list, which means I then give him that list, and he now reaches out to everybody. Now he comes to me and he says, I reached out to him. I think we need to kind of bring them together somewhere. And I said, well, I do have Discord and I've thought about Facebook. And he said, well, WhatsApp may be better. And I said, you know what? I would not have thought WhatsApp at all because number one, I live in, Dothan, Alabama. We don't use that here. We don't trust stuff like that. I've only used WhatsApp one time, and that was when my aunt was trying to get me to use a Haitian voodoo priest to get off of Vodon. Sorry, priest. He called himself voodoo, but it's Vodon. Vodon priest to get me out of a criminal situation, criminal charges I was facing, and they was using WhatsApp. I've had no trust for WhatsApp ever since then. But then that's what I thought was really cool when he said it. And I said, now see, this is what I mean. I don't live where y'all live. I don't know what is your culture. I don't know what people like to use. I don't know what people are used to using. And watch this, I'm aloof. There is a cost. And I don't think people understand that. There is a cost to being able to provide the level of information that I provide. There is a cost of being able to do the amount of things that I can do at one time. And that cost is literally my time. So for many of you, I don't, man, please don't, this ain't me complaining. This is me giving you insight into me. I don't engage life the way that you do. Maybe I'll get there one day. But as of now, I am so hyper-focused and so hyper-productive with good reasons. Like I have to be. Again, that's why I say it's not a complaint. No, like literally, I have to be. I spent nearly 2 decades of my life swimming in the wrong direction. So it's going to take me a lot longer to catch up than most other people. And I was already born in the wrong direction because my parents just weren't the most responsible people in the world. When I deconstructed, I kind of realized like, bruh, you got a lot of work to do. So the cost of that is that like, I don't always get to engage the world. And I don't even want to say get to, because I don't even want to. Like, nah, I learned a long time ago, you better change your definition of fun if you want a better ending. And I want a better ending. And so I'm hyper productive. So when I say I ain't got no bandwidth, bruh, I ain't never playing. Okay, let me get to the next one. Make sure I missed any questions on this side. Nope, I don't see any. And if I did, someone just say something and I'll try to see. Okay. Oh yeah, so they got him in WhatsApp, which I was excited about because again, I wouldn't have thought about that. And that's really the thing, like this is not gonna be a situation of, hey, what do you want me to do? Hey, what do you want me to do? If you're signing up to host, and especially if you're signing up to lead, you're signing up to say, I'm going to try to figure it out based off of what I know about the mission, based off of what I know about BC 101, based off what I know about the vision, based off what I know about Darante shares on Sunday sessions. Then I think I can figure some of these things out, and then we're going to workshop that. And so when he said WhatsApp, I said, all right, let's give it a go. Because number one, I'm not afraid of failure. WhatsApp could have been a disaster, and likely if that group grows by 10 more, it will likely start being very disastrous. I won't be afraid of it. Other people will be like, oh, snap, what are we going to do? We're going to navigate through these waves. Damn, that's why I can't wait to get there and do the training about us being like a ship, because rough waters are literally, it's a part of the assignment. Like you're going to have to be able to expect that tumultuous times are there, unexpected waves, unexpected storms. They're going to be there, right? So gotten everybody in the WhatsApp, then getting them talking, and then finally they got into their own groove of saying, let's meet every week. And that was just Robin and I had a little simple conversation. It was like, we don't know what it's going to look like, because again, nobody knows each other yet. These are all strangers. You can't really not being effective if you're not paying people to be there. You can't really dictate what's going to happen with strangers in any event like this, especially something that doesn't have its own legs yet. That means everybody in the room is ultimately brand spanking new, and nobody in this room knows each other. That creates so much complexity. But throughout their own organic, just kind of moving together, they decided, let's do something weekly on Saturdays. And then as they got legs, gave it a little structure. We're going to specify. We've been meeting on Saturdays for a little while. Now we're going to specify. We're going to make our Saturdays our roundtable discussions. So that way that gives everybody who wants to contribute a time to contribute, giving everybody an opportunity to get to know each other a little better, while also getting them leaning into structure, infrastructure, and organization a little bit. All right. Will you be down to do a trust fall? Oh my goodness. Never. Actually, when I was at NanoCon and meeting some of my online friends, I told them, but you know what, like maybe that is something I need to work on, because I think a phrase people heard from me a lot that whole weekend was like, I don't trust nobody. And that really is my I don't want to say it's my personality, but maybe it is, like, because I think even as a child, I was less trusting of people. I was somewhat skeptical, even when, I mean, I was kind of born in trauma, but like even when traumatic things hadn't happened yet, it was just like, I don't know, so, but trust falls, man, I probably trust a trust fall more than I trust people, because then at the trust fall, there's actually a reason, but then I don't know if I'm going to trust the people. That might be why I need to do a trust fall. We might have just come across a therapy moment here, but we'll see. We shall see. All right. Let me see here. What was the last question we did? Okay. Oh yeah. And so now they're meeting together, they're doing their roundtable discussions, and we're starting to pull people who can afford to contribute, who are available to support in a way without, throwing their own lives in disarray, to actually start organizing things, to be able to be willing to reach out to people and say, hey, what can you do? Which is an awkward question to ask somebody. Like, hey, can you cook the food for this event? If you can't cook it, we're gonna have to pay somebody to cook it, and that's gonna be an extra expense. It's learning, and it's in that work, y'all. And please, if the SoCal crew, I know Kyle is here. If anybody else from SoCal is watching, please do not miss the importance of this moment, because this is actually how community is made. Communities are formed when people start cooperating together on a project that means something, something to them. That helps bind them together closer. That makes them safe. That helps them learn each other and learn how to get safe with each other, learn how to navigate each other. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. Oh man. And so then once you have the next step, once you have a group of people talking together, it's looking for people who can help lift the load, and then actually getting them assigned to do things, right? And once you're there, you can plan any event you want to plan. You can start small if you want, where you and your community are just watching the Sunday sessions every week around a potluck, nothing fancy. Everybody just commit to bring something. That way, that allows you to be inclusive of people who may be at different stages financially. So you start there. You say, okay, yeah, we're going to start meeting up. And again, you might want to do the WhatsApp group until we get the big thing for y'all. Use the WhatsApp group for a while before you go there, so you get a chance to meet everybody a little bit and do a little impromptu events together. Because open up your house is kind of a big deal. Now, if you're going to use like a public space, then you can start pretty much as soon as you have people who are willing to show up. But you start there, and then maybe you pick some virtual time to go through Bridge City 101 together, because at some point you're going to have the conversation of like, oh yeah, how do we fund this? And that's, it's just like, yeah, that's module 4, Bridge City 101. Module 4, Bridge City 101. And it's actually not that tricky. It's just people are going to have to give, um, there is no membership-based organization where that's not the case. And those are the real conversations. And the reality is, your first 30 people of a community are not going to be people who are the majority of them are not going to be people who are in a place to financially support the local community in any way, with other than their time, and with other, their volunteerism. So it's not a high expectation. We may have some different luck in California, but it's not necessarily a high expectation. What's really going to be the thing is just really identifying ways to value everybody who's showing up, while also helping support them in their own personal lives, so that they can actually reach those goals, and for not for the sake of the community, but for them. Because I think, and this is just me, I think if we know that there are several people in our community who can't afford to give, and this is actually a conversation that we know who can't afford to give, we shouldn't just be like, all right, yeah, you don't have to give anything. That's the first, for sure. But there should be a part of us that's concerned. It's like, oh, I wonder how long it's been like that for them, because that's information. I wonder how much longer they're expecting it to be like this for them. I wonder what could we do as a community for people who join our community and don't have a solid financial support system, who don't have money management skills, who don't have the leeway, the bandwidth, or the room to skill up, to be able to create more opportunities for themselves. I think the community should be concerned about that. So your community should have ways, and again, Bridge City Module 4 should have ways for people to contribute that values where people are, and that tries to add more value to people. But I think one of the things that secular communities can do, that superstitious communities do, they just hide it. We just don't have to hide it, and that is honor your big givers, and look for them. Don't be sad about like, no, who can afford to give and it won't hurt you. So that way we don't have to be begging these poor people every Sunday. Which I would definitely advise. Please don't be begging people for church, begging people for money in your community. But you get to know the people who you are. You definitely identify the people who are in that place. Because at that moment, it's not just that they're valuable because they're able to give in a way that could help cover for other people. They're also valuable because they help bring a sense of stability and a sense of possibility for those who've never seen it before, And for a lot of people who are financially struggling, when you sit down with them and talk to them, what you'll find out is that they haven't had places to see that. If you had to ask them, like, what do you think is wrong? I'm going to tell you 9 times out of 10, they're going to say everything except for the thing that's actually wrong. Because it's not a world that they've been introduced to yet. It's not a culture that they've been introduced to yet. I used to call the 4 M's of money management. There's mindset, there's maturity, there's mechanics, and then there's the math. The mindset is, do I have a risk averse mindset? Maturity, do I view punishment or discipline? Do I view fault or responsibility? But then mechanics, do I even have an economic foundation? Like that was one of the first wake up calls for me personally, was in 2017 when I realized I'm out here living like I have the same things that everybody else has, and I'm a whole fucking orphan, but I'm making decisions like I got a family. I'm making decisions like I have a support system. I'm doing things like I have something to fall back on, and it's like, ooh, no, I actually need to reapproach how I'm living. I actually need to wrestle with my mechanics. What do my assets look like? What do my liabilities look like? I have 4 beautifully amazing children. But that also makes life more expensive for me. That's that, you know, and well, actually, that's not just that's a part of the mechanics, but that's also the math. You know, that's the math. I think one of like, and I'll move on from this one. I think one of the things that happened in that moment is I was like, you know, how much money do I need to make to survive in Dothan, Alabama with a family of 4? And, you know, and I'm looking at it, a family of 6, sorry, you know, it's me and my wife too. But how much do I need to be making as a family? And I never asked that question before. I never asked that question until 2017. I was already a grown man with 4 kids and not asking myself the question like, how much money do I need to make to actually survive? The question before that was just, what do you want to do? You know, what do you want to do with your life? And then I was just going to serve the Lord. Hallelujah. And so then when I deconverted and deconstructed in 2010, it was like, well, now I got to find something to do. And it wasn't until 2017 where it says like, you know, where I gave myself permission, like, you know, Darante, you can actually use the math to engage this, right? You don't just have to search your heart and find something that will make you feel good. You could actually look at a whole bunch of charts and a whole bunch of data and say, you know, these careers are the ones that are more likely to pay what you need, and then draw a roadmap to what you need to do to qualify yourself to get in that vein. And then once you get there, then you think about what you really want to do, because then you'll be able to finance what you want to do. So you don't have one of them families that got a little house for you to live in, for you to figure your shit out. No, that don't exist for you. So you've got to roadmap it. That's when I started telling myself, mastermind that ish. And that's literally what I live by. Like, you just got to figure it out, dealing with the mechanics. So, all right, and so go through module 4. Now, all of that's not in module 4. That's coaching stuff. That's not community stuff. That's coaching stuff. That's the shit you got to pay for, even though you just got it for free. Look, I'm too nice. I'm too good. Now let me stop. All right, I can maybe get through one more question before I got to go pick up Nate. Nate, that's my youngest son. Let's see here. How did the SoCal team go from strangers to an organized-led community so quickly? Or organized local community so quickly? Beautiful. And this is what I am trying to get y'all to understand. Oh my goodness. Because one person did what I asked him to do. That's it. That's it. That's it. One person says, you know what he's asking me to do may not make sense to me, but this man has 2 fucking decades of experience of planting churches from the ground up. And even though he's telling me just wax on and wax off, and I'm trying to figure out how the fuck is that going to teach me how to win in a fight, this dude just said, you know what? I'm going to do it. He told me to call everybody, and I called everybody. And then we put them in a WhatsApp group. And you created, I preached this a few Sundays ago. Look at me. You've created space and opportunity. You know? So all it takes, it happened so fast because one person who signed up followed through. If you think this is fast, imagine if everybody who signed up followed through. But I hope that it gives you some encouragement that all it takes is one. All it takes is one. I constantly remind people when they say, ooh, I don't know if this will work. Have you ever done it before? No, then you don't have the right to know that it doesn't work. Stop giving yourself permission to know things that you've never tried to know. You know how you try to know? By trying to do. Damn, that was good. You try to know by trying to do. Follow through and watch it happen. We're at the very beginning. I think I think some of y'all are probably even overinflating in your mind what this even looks like. It looks like exactly what I'm saying it looks like. It's a group of strangers. And out of those group of strangers, a smaller group of people are working together to be the team to carry the weight as the rest of the group is getting to know each other. And they're creating opportunities for the group to do that. I can write the blueprint out 5 different ways. And the absolute truth is, I already have. I've written this blueprint out 5 different ways. I've hosted it in the Discord. I've hosted it on our websites. I've hosted it in Bridge City Global on the Mastermind platform. And it's like, there is no way of solving the answer without working the problem. You know, you've got to work the problem to get the answer. I love that question. I love that question. Um, dang. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, how does it happen that fast? Just one person being willing to talk to people and being willing to learn from what they're talking to people about. And I'm not gonna leave you hanging. If you get those conversations started, you send me those notes. Tell me what's going, and I'll give you some advice. But I'm gonna give you some advice, not necessarily. I'm not gonna necessarily tell you what to do because that's not how community works, right? You're going to have to learn what to do based off the people who are in the room. I've given us the framework. The possibility, the potential, and the capacity is based on the people in the room and your ability to treat them with care and your ability to follow through and stay mission focused. Otherwise you get into mission drift and leak, and or even worse, personality paralysis. um, Personality paralysis is very common in a lot of organizations that promote celebrity culture, and personality paralysis. What often happens, and listen, the U.S. megachurch went through this shift 20 years ago. I was a part of that shift. That's how I'm aware of these things. But 20 years ago, when the evangelical charismatic pastors, the more revival type pastors evolved into more of that Billy Sunday type of personality, where there were more pastors who were flashy and shiny. If you look at many of the churches that were super popular during that era, and I'm going to have to go in just a few, that were super popular in that area, many of them are completely defunct today or are on their last leg. There's only a few that are holding on, and many of the few that are holding on did so because they saw what was happening and made the adjustment. It seemed absolutely fascinating at first that this singular personality was attracting all of these people, but that was actually it wasn't the full story. This is the reason why I speak with the nuance of religion that I do, where there is something that is said, there's a narrative, there's a propaganda, but what is professed is not always true, even when the people are professing it themselves. So people may say, I go to this church because this is Bishop so-and-so's church or Apostle so-and-so's church. But that's actually not the case, because when you actually do the work, study the cases, what you find is the churches who got stuck there, where people were coming there and the pastors actually believe that they're just coming there for the pastor, and the leaders of the church actually believe that they were just coming for the pastor. Everything got framed around the pastor. Two things happened. Number one, then whenever the pastor was not there, guess what happened? People would not show up. But then also, number two, nothing could get planned, directed, or moved without people feeling like it had the pastor's attention. And that's what I call personality paralysis. When we begin to take on the mentality that nothing moves until he does, we want to be as far away from that as possible. When you're signing up to be a host or a lead for a Bridge City campus, you're signing up to be a co-laborer. You're not signing up to be someone who's going to take orders. You're signing up to be someone who's going to learn the framework, learn the mission, the message, the methodology, and the mechanics, and then learn how you can work with the people, how you can care for the people that are joining that community to help make amazing things happen. And dang it, I wanted to get to at least another question, but I'm right at 3:13. Let me see, what was the next one? I will answer this last one, and then I'll go. And it's not the last one. I still got a whole bunch of more that I need to get to. So maybe I'll come back and do a part two of this. Y'all let me know if you'd be interested in that. And then if you have some questions that you think about later on, put them in the comments. If you put your questions in the comments after this video goes live, I will definitely add them to my list. But what kind of support, training, or resources will Bridge City provide to new hosts and leads. Right now, the support, training, or resources you'll receive is being able to work with the SoCal team hands-on. So you'll get some hands-on training there, and that is very serious. I do have some things that I've built out. We just don't have the people to properly source them yet. So I'd say the next 2 or 3, y'all are gonna feel somewhat like you get pulling it out of the mud, like SoCal. But probably after that third one, we'll have this running like a smooth oiled machine, and we'll be able to provide you not just books and pamphlets, but even bring you places to actually train you hands-on and spend some time with you, maybe for a few weeks, or we'll definitely have some things, maybe even some online training, which I do have the training course built out for our celebrants. But the big point is you will have support, and especially as you get closer to actually getting your community off the ground, because we'll actually send you through licensing and credentialing, so that this isn't just something you're doing as a hobby, but that is something that is vocationally reproducible for you, vocationally transferable for you. For those of you who care about your career, I don't want the work that you do with Bridge City to become a black hole on your resume. And as a matter of fact, I'm doing my best to create this leadership infrastructure that becomes an entirely different, an entirely new career opportunity for many people, so that we finally have some people who are incentivized to build people-centric community. The burning bush was a cannabis plant on fire. That's how I'll look at it. That's how I'll look at it. Well, listen, y'all, thank you all so much for being here. I am leaving 2 minutes later than I should be. And actually, I do have to let the stream lead in before I lead. But my son, he's normally a little slow coming out. He like to hang out with his friends and all that stuff. But I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for hanging out with your boy. And again, if you have any more questions, or if you have any questions related to Bridge City Global, Liftoff Weekend, or the Rise event that we're having, which I definitely have to do this part 2 because I didn't even get into the Rise questions. Leave those questions in the comments below. And when I come back to do this again, I'll add those to the list. All right, y'all have a wonderful day. Until next time, keep rising and be the bridge. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to, of course, it's our Sunday sessions. And of course, I'm kind of in the dark over here, but we're going to make it do what it do. I actually wasn't planning on doing a music portion today. And then, right after we kind of wrapped up our notes and everything, I came by the piano and I had this little medley, one of those things that came to mind, and I wanted to share a little bit of this with you. This one will be short, but I think it goes in line with what we're talking about today and how we're closing out this conversation. I'm gonna play around with it a little bit, and we'll see. Did I freeze up on y'all? All right, here we go. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I can't tell you what will work, I can't tell you what won't hurt. I can share these lessons learned from my emptiness, and I don't know what will go wrong, and I won't dwell on that for long. What I know is that I gotta keep moving, 'cause I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible, though I feel I'm running on empty. Don't feel sorry, I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. I'm on the edge of something incredible.
incredible, and I feel I'm running on empty, but don't feel sorry. I'm just getting started up, and I tell you I've done it on empty. And I tell you I've done it on empty. And I tell you I'm running on empty, yeah. I'm running on empty. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Like I told you, it would be brief, but I wanted to share that, and I hope it did something for you. And I'll jump over into the other side of the studio so we can get this conversation started.
Hello,